Hi, everybody. Today we have a nurse who wears various hats. Being a mom, nurse, yoga instructor, and content creator may seem like a lot, but she wears each title with grace. She has recently started and created her own YouTube channel by creating a community and introducing new moms and moms who have gone through postpartum, all moms, to yoga through her new YouTube channel, Yoga with Lesline. Everybody, welcome Lesline to the Evolve Nurse Podcast.
Thank you, Lakeisha. I'm so excited
You
to be
are
here.
welcome. Thank you for coming onto the podcast because you did not have to come, but you're here. And so, the first question that I love to ask people just to see where your headspace was at the time where you became a nurse. Have you always wanted to be a nurse?
No. And why did I hesitate like that? No, it was my parents that were like, become a nurse.
Hmm.
That's just what growing up in a Jamaican household, that's just what it is. You nurse, doctor, lawyer, those kind of things.
Hmm.
So I became a nurse. Also became a nurse because I thought the schedule would be good and the pay would be amazing. The typical things that they
Hmm.
lure you in with.
Stability.
Stability.
So, of course, it's common. I have a lot of Jamaican friends, and it's always either you become a nurse and, like you said, a doctor or something in higher education. But what did you initially want to be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And I was thinking about that this morning. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an astronaut. I
Okay.
don't know. I feel like maybe back when I was a kid, there was I don't know if it was also my dad. He just had a fascination, especially I was born upstate New York and then we moved down here when I was 8. So I think it was mostly also my dad had a fascination just with like Kennedy Space Center and like rockets and stuff. But I say all that to say I wanted to be an astronaut for a minute, but if you know me personally, I hate roller coasters, so
Hmm.
that makes no sense. I wanted to be a chef. I don't like cooking. So it's just an interesting question to ask because now that I have my own kids and just with the way that you can make money in so many different ways now, I kind of am like, why do we put in a box, I
Hmm.
feel like as people, we're multifaceted and you don't have to there's two sides of this. Yes, you need the stability. Yes, you need to go to school. That's like my mom, me as a mom now. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
yes, you need to get that education. Because when there's uncertainty, nursing is, I feel like
Your go-to.
yeah, it's the most recession proof, I feel like, because I don't
Mhm.
know about you, but I've been hearing some stuff just recession, not recession, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, well, I know I'm good,
Yeah,
you
either
know?
way, we can figure it out. We can, and I'm glad that you do so many things right now because it shows that you're able to have your creativity,
Yeah,
which allows your children to know that, whatever you do is not limited to
yeah,
one thing. And
mhm.
I think that's so beautiful because oftentimes we're pushed into, nothing is wrong with trade school, nothing is wrong with
Right.
these things, but because we're forced into higher education
Mhm.
and then being a semi-smart person, they're like, you should go to school for this, or you
Yeah.
should. They always mold what your career is going to be. And you're not often able to even think about what you want to do.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
all the careers that we think about as children are education led. Like
Yes.
being creative was never something that I recognized that I was, even though I was that I could make money from being creative. And that's why I think with
Mhm.
you being in your content creation space, it's like, oh, you're able to create and you're able to make money doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But it is very, very recession proof being a nurse,
Yeah.
y'all.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
it really is. Even if you decide that you don't want to be a nurse right now, as I always say, rolling off the bedside and into entrepreneurship, you can always keep your license and go back
Mhm. Yep.
if you need to.
If push comes to that is great advice, Lakeisha. Because honestly, yeah, if push comes to shove, I just renewed my license a couple weeks
Hmm.
ago, and yeah, it's just like yeah, I can go right back into bedside if I needed to, So,
Hmm. So, what did nursing school look like for you?
hmm yeah, it was a very stressful 2.5 years. But as I look back, it really wasn't that stressful because I wasn't married yet. I didn't have kids. I still lived at home. So I had, and I don't say this and like to be rude, but I had a lot of advantages because I didn't have anything
Mhm.
taking my time,
Yes.
So and we'll get into like, I went back to school, but now I'm out of school. But like going back into school, as a wife, as a mom, all of these things, it's a lot. Like it's way different. And yeah, so when I first became was in nursing school to get my associates, I had nothing but time. I studied every single day. Every single day I studied. So, yeah, nursing school just it was nothing but time for me, studying every day. Like when I say I studied every day, that was what I did because I'm somebody I get overwhelmed easily, which is
Mm.
ironic because you're like, "Well, you're a yoga teacher," which that's why I do yoga.
Yeah. Just to calm you down,
It
okay?
calms you down.
Found it in nursing school.
Yeah, like in nursing school, I was going to yoga. Like I was doing these things to help me. Like it's actually, I haven't really said that this part out loud of my story, but I was doing exercise and forms of self care because even though I had nothing but time, it was still very stressful. Like I remember one time in particular, towards the end of nursing school, we had to do like the dosages,
The calculations.
the calculations. I think you had a basic calculator. I forget.
Yes, you do get a basic calculator. Just a
Yeah.
basic one.
Okay.
Just a
And
basic
I failed. Me and a friend at the time, we both failed the first time. And I remember me and my friend like crying. Like you would have thought, like, you know how it goes with
one.
these
Life
tests.
ends. Oh my gosh. I remember, I don't know if I ever failed a dosage
Oh,
calculation
oh, so
test,
you smart.
but no, 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 no. But the anxiety that I had around going and
Mhm.
taking the test could easily make you make a mistake.
Yeah.
And I'm always the last person to leave the classroom. So
Yeah.
that gives you anxiety too, because you're
Girl,
like, I'm dumb.
that part is so stressful. I forgot about that part. Yeah, because it's like once you're done, exit so you don't cheat,
Yes.
whatever. Um, so yeah, that was really stressful. But then we passed the next, like the second time we took it.
Mhm.
But you actually need that stress though, because once you become a nurse, like and I always say this, I don't know if you're gonna ask this question, but I feel like once you become a nurse, you need to go into the hospital. And I know me, I'm so eager. If I hear this and I was a new grad, I'd be like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. I want to, or like adopt something
Mhm.
where you're touching the people. Because I'm saying all that to say is you need the like that stress from failing the dosage exam, the stress of taking the NCLEX. You need to know how to manage that stress
Girl.
because once you work in the field, there's stress left and right.
And you know what? This is the first time that I ever considered that. I was just like, it's trauma. It's trauma.
It
I was
is.
like, all of these traumatic experiences that we're going through. But if
No, uh,
we're being honest, that's how I managed during COVID. I would have never been able to be able to like fare well during
yeah,
COVID had I not had had those traumatic experiences.
yeah,
And I think that's very important to say because, of course, we're going through these things in the moment. So we know what it feels like during the moment to be scared, afraid to
mhm,
take your test. That,
mhm,
if I fail this one test,
yeah,
I'm out of the program.
yep, yep,
Like those are things that are always going on in your head, especially if you're a high anxious type of person.
yeah,
Like you always have those very
yeah,
chill people in nursing
yeah,
school who pass all their tests
yep,
and go party with their friends, and
yeah,
you're at home reading
mhm,
your books and trying to
mhm,
figure this out, like ingesting all the fluff because you don't know what you need to know for the test.
yep,
So I never thought of it that way. But you said that you went and got your associate's degree. So now you said you just went back to school. So what did
Mhm.
that look like for you, being a mom, being a wife, being all those things? Because when you said that life was so much easier when you were not a mom, not a wife,
Yeah.
it was very easy then. When I wasn't a mom, I was able to do all the things that I needed to do, give all my time and dedicate my time to studying. But now that I'm a mom and I'm in school right now,
Mhm.
it is a bit much. So
Yeah,
I do think back to the time where, oh, was so much easier back then.
it
So
was.
what does it look like for you now in school?
Yeah. So I did school for almost 2 years. It was like a year and a half I did of school. And I was going to school to become a psychiatric nurse practitioner,
Hmm.
because I thought that that was the way that I could like continue to serve my community of new moms, like in a more just in a more impactful way,
Hmm.
I guess. So I did all of the like didactic work, but it was the clinicals that really got me, um in the sense of like having to find the preceptor and all of that on top of working my full-time job as a nurse. I work remotely as a nurse Monday to Friday, so it was really hard to like I'd have to take days off and like get childcare and like it's a lot of coordination. I joke with my husband and say I'm the project manager of the home
Hmm.
because it's a lot of there's a lot of moving parts. So anyways, I decided to withdraw from school because it was just becoming too much, and too much means that the hours that I thought I was going to get for this semester, that the preceptor said no. Like I say I did 20 hours, she said only 5 counted. So there was miscommunication with that. They put me somewhere else and there was still miscommunication. So my yoga self was just like, there's a lot of resistance. And yeah, you can say woosah, right? But also with like being a yoga teacher, I also am like, once I feel like I don't want to say that it's too hard,
Hmm.
because I do put in work. I put in effort. Like if you follow me, I put in the work. So I'm not somebody that is like, "Oh, this is too much work." No, it was just too many different things where it was also like now, I'm not spending as much time with my family, and my kids are very young, and like you don't get these moments back, even though I hate saying that, but it's just like it's those type of things where I'm like, school will always be there,
Hmm.
but the time I have with my family and things like that, I can't get it back. And that's also the reason I went remote as a nurse, because I just wanted more of that work life balance, as people are used to hearing that phrase. So I just wanted to be able to still be a nurse in practice, but be able to, if my kid is sick, pick my kid up and it not be a whole thing, right? So I withdrew from school, not doing that at this time. Like I said on my social media as well as my email list, I'll never say I'm never going to go back. But for now, in this season of life, I really just want to hone in on my yoga, like why I started showing up online, why I started my wellness business was for Black new moms, because I was a Black new mom and I
Hmm.
felt very, very lost. I felt very disconnected to my body. I felt so weak physically. And so, yeah, I'll stop there because there might be other questions.
No, you're fine. I think that it's very important that we touch on how to find a preceptor.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
right, I'm in a DNP leadership
Oh,
program, organizational leadership,
okay.
and the way that our program is set up is like, oh, now you have to find your preceptors on your own. And that's not very easy because you come from a world where your preceptors are found for you. You don't have to communicate with these people. You just go in, don't even clock in, have your ID on, dress out for for the calls and go to do free labor,
Yeah.
right?
Yep. Mhm.
But what did it look like for you to find a preceptor?
Yeah. Uh it's hard to say that. Um, but if you're somebody, if you already went through regular nursing school, like to get your associates, I guess now it's just bachelor's. I don't do they. Anyways, if
Hmm.
you already became a registered nurse, you can do it. Like I want to put that out there. This is just my experience. You know what I'm saying? So please, I keep saying this time and time again, but do not be like, well, if she can't do it, I sure as heck can't because I'm
Right.
this or I'm that. Like, don't count yourself out. Um, I will say you have to network. Like you have to
Hmm.
put yourself out there. And I kind of get it's frustrating because you're like, I've done so much work already. The least the school can do, but you know, it is what it is and how the schools work. And it does make sense that they can't really help because anyways, I don't want to get into all that.
I'm
But
paying all this money. Y'all do the work.
right.
Y'all
Yeah,
do
like
the work.
exactly. It's true. We do pay them all this. Yeah. And so when I knew I had to find a preceptor, I also say this, you have like before you before you start school, you should already kind of have them lined up
Hmm.
because when you start the program, typically, please do not take my word for gospel or permanent marker. Um, typically you start school a year later, you do your clinicals, right?
Hmm.
It's like about a year out. So my suggestion is like once you make that decision, like in your head, like, oh, I'm gonna start school, you need to already be networking with people. If you work in the hospital, stay in the hospital would be my suggestion because I feel like it's easier to like find people that you could connect with that not necessarily on your floor and stuff,
And
but
they have
like
stable schedules as well.
yeah.
Hmm.
There are now, which is it's this is also a controversial thing, but a lot of the preceptors you have to pay. So I had to
Hmm.
pay my first one. I didn't have to pay the second one because it was like within a facility. So like this anyways, I didn't have to pay that one, but I did have to pay the first one and that was a little bit of awkward conversation because at first oh, I thought that was me.
That was me.
At first, you know, when I approached them, they're like, "Yes." And so, anyways, long story short, there are other things out there, other companies now that
Hmm.
have made
I've seen that.
businesses out of this where you can find a preceptor. I have not used them. Use your discretion with that, is what I will
Hmm.
say. But that's why it's so important that you network. Like you network, you build your brand. That's something else I will say as a nurse. You need to build your brand. As nurses, you are already a thought leader.
Hmm.
So like you have to take yourself seriously. Like no matter what kind of nurse you are a thought leader. People look up to you. People trust what you say almost more than doctors. So with that being said, you need to start being on social media, talking about your experience working wherever the heck you work, providing health education. Once you create your brand, build your brand, have your website, all of that stuff, then while you're in school and you're trying to find somebody, people will trust you more. Is
Hmm.
what I'm getting at. Because when you're on social media, no matter what people say, because people got a lot of things to say on social media, I can't be on it anymore. La 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 la. But they be on it. They be on it.
They do. They do. And I'm definitely guilty. I'm very guilty of I need to detox from social media or just not feeling like I have enough time to put
Yeah.
out all the content that I have, which you everything is content, everything
Yeah.
is content. And it's like, okay, Keisha, like I've shown up in this space time and time again. I
Mhm.
have people who like they respect me, they care about my
Yeah.
opinion. And it's very important for us to come into this space and be a soft place for them to land sometimes. Because some of
Mm.
the things that they go through, they think that they are in it alone. Like nobody else has dealt with this before. But going back to precepting, I actually had a lady who came to me, and she is one of my friends now, but we met at a nasal swab clinic years ago and we've just kept in touch. And so she was like, "Hey," she was getting her BS in. She was like, "Hey, my preceptor dropped out." Like,
Mm.
she is not gonna do this for me. It's at the tail end of her semester. She was like, "Will you be my mentor?"
Oh.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I can do that for you." I just feel like when you're trying to get preceptors, always act accordingly. So
Mm.
when you're in hospital settings, always act like you're going to use these people as for a letter of recommendation or something like that. As
Right.
you said, you have to build your brand, you have to build your personhood, and
Mhm.
that's whether it's online or
Mhm.
offline.
Mhm.
Who are you in whatever setting you're in? Because you don't want to be in a facility like I did long-term care. I'm in the hospital. I've done all these things, but everywhere you go, you want to leave an impact
Yeah.
because you want to be able to go back and say, "Hey,
Mhm.
I'm applying to school. Can you write me a letter of recommendation? Hey, I'm doing this. Can you show up for the like you want to be able to actually call on somebody, and a lot of times people don't put themselves out there enough
Yes.
for that
Yes.
because people simply don't know how to network or they
Yes.
don't know how to vocalize
Yes.
or they simply are afraid to reach out. They can only say yes or no.
Mhm.
They
Exactly.
can literally only say yes or no. But going back to school,
Yeah.
I do understand why you felt like that was the next step to give back to the community. But I do feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. As you said, like you met resistance and it was like if it doesn't flow, let it go.
Yeah. That's it.
If it doesn't flow, let it go. Look, I too found yoga in nursing school. So that's why I'm like, oh, okay. I definitely get it. We do struggle so much in nursing school. So it's very important that you find that whoever is listening, find your outlet, find what you can do because look, there are going to be times where the stress is going to get the best of you. And for me, I was sitting in the middle of the floor crying my eyes out, not
Mm.
knowing what to do because if I don't pass these next few tests, I am out of here.
Mm.
So I think that is very important. Now, you do wear so many hats. So we're gonna just roll off the bedside because now you're remote.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you?
Yeah. Yeah. So it's completely different. I work as a concurrent review nurse for an insurance company.
Mhm.
So, specifically with NICU babies and creating the authorizations and reviewing, for their level of care and medical necessity, right? And making sure we're saving the insurance money.
Yes.
I.e., the department I work for is utilization management. So we're managing the utilization of the patients, right? So it's a completely different side of nursing. It's all brain, your brain. It's not physical, and it's how do I say this? Because sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm not really a nurse anymore. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm
Mhm.
not
I'm an
bedside.
insurance lady.
I'm an insurance lady, right? I don't sell the insurance, but I'm an insurance lady,
Mhm.
right? And that kind of really did a damper on my confidence. So when I started my business 4 years ago, I didn't mention that I was a nurse. And then I found out that the clients that I started getting that would come to my yoga classes, they'd
Nurse.
be like, "Well, I come to you because you are a nurse." I said, "Wait a minute, what you be looking at? Where I don't say
How do
that,
you
no."
know?
Right? But there was places like on my website and things like that where I would put it, but I wasn't like saying it out loud.
Mhm.
And so I say all that to say, yeah, so now I do concurrent review nursing. I've been doing this for 4 to 5 years. Yeah. Yeah, so I've been doing this for about 4 to 5 years. It's given me a lot of perspective, especially with my business, because, like I
Mhm.
said, I teach yoga to new moms. So I'm reading clinicals all day about babies that are low birth weight, babies that have respiratory distress syndrome, babies that have hyperbilly. I'm reading about this all day and then also looking at the mom, right? And I'm like, why did this baby come out preterm? Mom has mental health needs. Mom has gestational hypertension, gestational diabetes. Then my brain is like, why did the mom have those things?
Mhm.
Like, did she not know how to take care of herself? Right. And so that's where, and it sounds, when I say that, you're like, oh, damn. Like, and so that's why I'm so passionate about showing new moms how to put themselves first. And even before they have the baby, because it's like, if you know how to take care of yourself before baby comes, you are so much more ahead than a
Mhm.
lot of other mothers. And you're also going to be way more healthier when you know how to prioritize your health, right? You'll have a baby that's full term. You'll have a baby that is the birth weight it needs to be. You'll have, you know what I'm saying? Like, you won't have complications yourself. So many women are like, oh yeah, like I had this and this happen to me. And then, you kind of like misery loves company. Oh yeah, that happened to me too. But that's not normal. That's not normal.
Yes, and it has become normal. It's become very normal to go through pregnancy and it be a horrible experience
Yeah.
because so many people have those experiences where, like you said, you don't know how to take care of yourself because before baby, you weren't taking care of yourself anyway. Like you were already struggling
Yep.
mentally and didn't know how to even say it out loud.
And everything is exacerbated when you are
Oh, yes.
pregnant.
Like everything.
Everything.
Girl, I remember being in a Chick-fil-A drive-through on a contract and my fiance ordered a water because I like Chick-fil-A water. So the the cashier put in a Dasani. And my fiance is like very non-confrontational. So he drove out the drive-through and I have this Dasani. I was like, I did not ask for that. I want this water. And I'm angry because, oh my gosh, all I wanted was a Chick-fil-A cup of water. That's it.
With the ice. With the ice.
With the ice. And I don't eat the ice, but it's the way the water was tasting to me. And I was so hurt. I was distraught. And
Mhm.
I'm like, how dare he put that in? Everything is definitely exacerbated
Mhm.
when you're pregnant. And if you are already going through these things, and then you also maybe have a partner that isn't as present as they should be. So, how are you taking care of yourself? You're just not, you're just coasting during this pregnancy hoping that the baby comes out fine. But sometimes you're not even thinking about the baby that much because you're wrapped up in all the things you have going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true.
This episode of the Evolved Nurse podcast is brought to you by Yoni Potion, the natural wellness beverage crafted for women by women. Ladies, let's be real. When it comes to health, we often put everyone else first. But here's the thing, your body deserves care too, especially when it comes to something as important as your vaginal health. That's where Yoni Potion comes in. It isn't just any health drink. It's a natural game changer, made with natural ingredients like pineapples, ginger, apple cider vinegar, and more. It creates a natural probiotic for a healthy microbiome. Yoni Potion helps you maintain balance from the inside out. It's all about keeping your pH levels in check, supporting hormone health, and helping you feel comfortable and confident in your own skin. Oh, did I mention it was delicious? Whether you're hitting the gym, powering through a busy workday, or just need to pick me up, Yoni Potion is there to keep you feeling your best because when your body feels good, you feel unstoppable. So if you're ready to embrace your health and take charge of your wellness journey, head over to yonipotion.com and check out Yoni Potion. That's YONIPHOTION.com. Listeners can get 10% off using code POTION, P capital HOTION 10 on your first order. It's time to treat your body with the care it deserves. Yoni Potion, because wellness starts from within. Now back to the show. So we went from you being a remote nurse to you being in yoga. We talked about um why you went into yoga. But what does your day look like now that you have your own business? Because you're off the bedside into entrepreneurship and you're doing so many things in your area. So what does it look like for you to do what you love doing?
Yeah, so I do it on the weekends. I always like
Hmm.
to make that clear because I still work my full-time job.
Uh-huh.
So I do my yoga classes on the weekends, and they're actually wrapping up Mommy to Be Yoga series that I'm doing in collaboration with Strong Beautiful Future, which
Mhm.
is an organization that empowers Black women specifically to have healthy pregnancies here in West Orange County, Florida. So we're wrapping up that Mommy to Be yoga series. This was is the final week. Of the class. So we're doing 4 classes. So this is going to be the 4th class this weekend. So yeah, that's I've been doing with like my yoga business. I also have my self-care card deck for new moms
Mhm.
called You Just Had a Baby, which has been featured on the Tabitha Brown show Very Good Mondays. And actually today is a year ago. Like I need to do that. I might do that tomorrow, but today, this time last year was when it was
You
featured.
launched? Oh,
It was,
goodness.
but I launched like a month prior. Like that month that I launched was like everything was happening at once. Like
Mhm.
I've done a lot of things being a one woman show with the card
With the
deck.
one
It's
card.
gone into hundreds of women's hands, specifically pregnant women's hands. Yeah, so like I it yeah, it's been incredible. Just now looking how to scale it, and cuz product is a whole nother beast.
Yes.
So yeah.
Yes, I'm thinking about releasing products, and every time I start I'm like, hold on. So how do I get from this point to manufacturing and making sure that it looks the way that I want it
Yeah.
to look and all of these things. So being a one band show is like
Mhm.
everybody needs a team, but it's also like, yes, we all need a team, but are they going to do it like we do it?
Yeah.
We have to be able to release that responsibility. And it's so hard.
So hard.
It's so hard. I think I was talking to somebody recently about taking my distribution out of my hands.
Hmm.
So like them editing and them doing the things, and it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
do I really want to? Like, do I have the fear around getting there? I think it's a lot of things that happen when you're a black woman in the
Yep.
entrepreneur space and in wellness, where you want to be able to control the narrative, so you don't want to
Mhm.
outsource it to somebody who may not really understand where you're coming from, and now they're editing and they
Yeah.
may edit out some very important details that you need. So those are all the things that come into your mind when you're like, should I release this to somebody else? Take it off of my plate so I can live a better life,
Yeah. Yeah.
an unstressful life. Well, everything is going to come with its
Mhm.
stress, but being able to actually say, I'm washing my hands with this
Right.
and I'm going to let somebody else do it so that I can maximize my time in other places.
Right. Right.
So, how did growth feel for you? Like, you went from doing yoga,
Mhm.
being a yoga instructor, now you're collaborating with other brands,
Yeah.
and you also have your own card deck.
Yeah.
That's that's a very significant thing to do. It was featured on Tabitha Brown,
Yeah.
and it has touched so many people's hands. How did that growth feel for you? And were you able to just like accept it and congratulate yourself for
I accepted it. I was like, we got to get this done,
it?
because at that same time, was it last year? Or was it the year before? Yeah, because I want to say that same time. No, it was last year. Last year, a lot of different. Also partnered with Nurse Blake, and he invited me on his cruise to teach yoga. And so at that same time, I'm talking with the Florida Department of Health to make sure, because they're the one that wanted to collaborate with me with the cards. So I'm like writing emails as we're going down to Miami to get on the boat, like, and it's like all of it is me and So it was growth is I don't want to say it hurts, but it's like also like when you have the purpose and the why. I really want to say the purpose. When you really have your purpose, you don't I even realize that you're growing, because you're just like, I have to get this done. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I have to get this done. Like there are people that need what I'm doing. Like I have to get this done. Like that's the only way. Like I didn't know it was growth. I didn't know. I'm
Yeah,
just
until you turned around and one day it's like, hold on, what am I doing here?
yeah.
And
Yeah.
sometimes you don't even recognize it. But as I asked, have you congratulated yourself?
No, and it's not until like talking with you where I'm like, oh my God, hundreds of people have bought my card.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's it's not wild though. Like this is what I wanted. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, I need to congratulate myself because I did a lot last year. I did a lot.
Yes.
It was
Look, I asked you that because I'm definitely the person who just goes, 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 and forgets to even say, "Hey, you did so much this week.
yeah.
Like you did so many things." In February, we did a wellness tea party for healthcare professionals, specifically Black women,
Oh.
and I I don't think I had ever looked back over
We're in Jacksonville?
mhm,
Oh
everything
man.
that I had done and everything I was doing. And so I never congratulated myself. I just moved
Mm.
on to the next thing.
Invite me if you do it again. Sorry. I'm like, that's
I sure
exciting.
will. I sure will. I also have my Evolve community here, which is comprised of healthcare professionals,
Okay.
specifically Black women, as I
Yeah.
stated before,
Yeah.
and because we need a landing place.
Yeah.
So the Evolve Nurse actually started for nurses, but I started a Bridging the Gap series that included everyone else because we all collaborate to
Mm.
make care better for our patients.
Yeah. Yes.
I
100%.
will definitely keep you in the loop
Yeah.
on that. But let's get into where you want life to be. Like, what does your ideal self look like?
Mm. Speaking on stages,
Hmm.
um, writing my book, just living a life of ease, living in my purpose, making sure I'm aligned with what God's desires are, and that they match like His desires match what like they match up with my heart.
Hmm.
Continuing to work in my heart, working from my heart. Um, Traveling the world with my family. Like I really want to be able to be like, all right guys, like with all of my family. Like, okay guys, we're going to this place and I'm paying like I'm covering the whole thing.
I
Like
got
that's
it.
something that
Put it on the business card.
yeah.
I love that for you. And I think that it's so beautiful to see when businesses form like this, like they start just as a thought and
Yeah.
then they end up being everything that we wanted and more. And we honestly don't see it coming.
Yeah.
Like we don't know until we know. And
Yeah.
I think it's very beautiful for you to be doing all the things that you're doing in the mommy community.
Thank you.
Still very much a nurse. So
Yeah.
definitely do
Yeah.
not forget that part
Thank
because it is very easy to be like, you know, I'm not mentioning that because I'm not a nurse anymore, but you're
you.
definitely a nurse and it's well needed. Like on my end, because I am in the OR and I deal with charges.
Mm.
So it's important for us to know like how we're charging. Are they gonna pay for this? What are the parents gonna be charged with? It's all of these
Oh.
things are very, very important and
Yeah.
so we need people who understand clinical, who
Mhm.
understand what the clinical aspect looks like
Mhm.
to look at these I guess insurance, what is the word?
Games, but no, it's not a game.
The games, the insurance games. Yes. It's very important that we know because there are so many different things happening in insurance. And if we have somebody who doesn't understand nursing, who doesn't understand the
Right.
language, the jargon that we use, the documentation that we
Right.
have, if we don't have those people in place, then a lot of things fall through the cracks. And that's what we see normally, even with like court cases that have no nurses on the jury
Um,
or things that upper management who has no like they have no experience in nursing but they're running the hospitals so they lack the compassion and empathy for patients. You see this every day. So your role is very, very important
Mm.
because that's one of the things that ended up happening. Like it was a huge conversation at my hospital when they were going to take away the payment for anesthesia during surgeries.
Oh my God. Yes. Oh.
And it made it made me think back to, because I've worked adults. So I've been in the OR for about 4 or 5 years now. And so I've seen the different variations of surgery. So I know how long it takes.
Yeah.
And so I see surgeons who do like a lap appy robotically. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, they are slow at doing them generally. Like they're slow at opening up. So to do them robotically, they're even slower.
Right.
So now how much are you charging these parents, this insurance company, for this anesthesia?
Mm-hmm.
And my initial thought was, how dare they? How dare they not pay for anesthesia? But on the back end, there are some physicians who will abuse the system
Yeah.
because
And
a lot of the surgeries don't require you to use these things. And of course, when you're in a teaching hospital, there are different levels. And I'm wondering, in the insurance world, are they going to consider there are people learning here, so it may take a little bit longer because they're learning?
to be honest with you, from the insurance side, we just see it black and white. Like there's
Hmm.
no gray. But at the same time, being the nurse, we're like, hey, we have to see the gray, right?
Hmm.
And it all comes down to like the medical necessity, like, and so that's why it's so important that the provider is writing detailed notes of why did it take this long, right? If there is a student or whatnot, whatever it is, like writing that in the clinical documentation, because a lot of the frustration being on this side now is it's not clear. Like,
Yes.
I can only use my nursing judgment. That's what we say. We're reading between the lines so much. But at the
Hmm.
end of the day, I have to cover myself, right? I have to cover myself because these cases can come back to me as well. Like I didn't even realize I was on a meeting one time and this lady was mentioning something about how like of somebody she knew was taken to court because of an authorization that she had done
Hmm.
that she never like because we have to like you have to attach the clinicals, like you can't just like approve go like AI cannot.
They're not taking your jobs.
They're not, because like they can help attach clinical, but even that there can be you still as the nurse I have to make sure patient identifiers, all of that, right? And then as you're looking through the clinicals, you're like making sure, okay, does this match the interqual?
Mhm.
That's the system we use. Does this match the interqual system, right? And then if it doesn't, you got to either send to the doctor, blah blah blah. But that's why it's just so important that as providers, like, write detailed notes, write
Yes.
every single thing, like why did the lap take the appy take that long, like why did it take that long, right?
Mhm.
Like if you're just like it took this amount of minutes or whatever, but you're not explaining, you're not saying the medication, you're not telling like the patient's comorbidities, their health issue, you get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like you're just like, John Doe, this is how long it took, blah blah blah. So anyways,
So
and then
yeah,
that's where the fight comes, where then you
mhm.
guys hate talking to us because we're like
Asking the
nitpicking.
questions. Hmm.
Mm,
And you have to be, because of course, like I said, there are people who abuse that system.
yeah.
Whereas there are people who, like, it's a true emergency
Yes.
and they can't scale back how long the surgery is going to take.
Right.
Had an
Right.
issue happen during the surgery. Those are different things. But when you have people who can do the surgery quickly,
Yeah.
and then they end up doing it a different way to
Mhm.
extend the time
So that
of the
insurance will
surgery.
cover it, and
Yes, I do think that sometimes that does happen, and it's very unfortunate because those people who do need the service, they get the, oh, we're not even paying for it anymore because we see that it's being abused, because based on the documentation that
yeah,
you're looking at,
yeah.
it's not it's not extensive enough and it's not proving enough to
Mhm.
actually warrant us paying for this.
Right.
I think that is I think that it was very important for us to talk about this because being in my role, I'm very thorough in my documentation, but I have seen like going back through some of the people I work with because I'm
Yeah.
charged and I've seen some of their documentation. I'm like, this is not enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not saying enough. Other people are looking at this, and I've never met somebody who looks at it, or even met somebody who does the insurance portion of it. But you definitely need to consider yourself a nurse because you're in that nursing category.
Yeah. It's a lot of documentation. It's a lot of dotting the I's, crossing the T's, and there's the whole NCQA side of things as well. So making sure there's quality assurance,
Mhm.
right? That's so important to make sure that that we have patient safety. And what also like comes up as you're talking is that's why we have to be advocate for our patients. Like I'm able to advocate on this side, like if
Mhm.
something's not right, where I'm like, you know what, this does need to be approved, and then I have that conversation. Like when I send it to the doctor's like, hey, like, can you kind of explain, like, I see what you wrote, but explain, and then she'll approve it. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So like those type of things is like how I advocate, because that's one of the biggest things that I love about being a nurse is that I can advocate for people, right? Like, and that's so important because going back to what you said, like how there's just so much going on with insurance, right? And then people, they don't even want to bother, possibly calling your insurance because you can
Yeah.
do that. Call them, bother them. The squeaky wheel gets, what's that saying? Like, the more you bother
The
us,
more
like,
they'll look.
the
Yeah.
more they'll look, because things, like you said, fall between the cracks. They fall between the cracks, and you have to, you have to advocate for yourself as a patient, but
Mhm.
also as a nurse. Like you have to look out too for your family. I know you have some family, I know, but you have to advocate for your family because your family don't know all the ins and outs when it comes. This healthcare system is a game. It's a
Yes.
game where they
The
want to
insurance
spend the
games.
least. Hmm?
I said the insurance games.
It's the insurance game where they want to spend the least amount of money.
Mhm.
Utilization management, managing the utilization. It's really just it's budgeting.
Mhm.
It's all, that's all it is. It's just a bunch
What
of.
makes sense for their pockets, and that's the reason why they have you there for checks and balances,
Mhm. Yes.
because it can easily get muddled in the water. I see that all the time within management, is that, oh, because the budget is this,
Yep.
then we're not going to utilize the nurses that we need.
Yep.
We're going to make sure you do all the work of
Yep.
all of these departments. And I'm
Yeah.
speaking for myself because that's what
Yeah.
I'm going through right now.
Yeah.
So you see that all the time where it's like the bottom line
Yes.
is the most important. Even though studies show that if you burn out your employees, insurance costs for your hospital goes up because they're always out, because they're always sick, because they're never feeling well. They come to work unhappy. So a lot of this leads to HR issues because of the nurse bullying. All of these things happen.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so that's I think that is a very, very important thing to actually talk about because nobody really links being sick to having a poor work environment.
That's a
The
whole,
anxiety of
yeah.
going into the job.
Girl, that's why I left that. Yeah.
The anxiety of going into the job. And it's like there are days where I'm like, tonight is gonna be a night. I just know it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
in the stars, something
The
tells me
moon, that
the
moon is,
moon,
the
the
moon don't
stars,
lie.
in my gut.
Mhm.
I can be walking through our sterile court and I'll be like, I know I'm going to get 2 or 3 calls tonight. And in 5 minutes, boom, you got a neuro case. You got this, you got this, you got this. And I'm like, I am one person.
That's,
Hold on, hold on.
yeah. Give me a
But
minute.
that's what happens when you work in trauma. And so
Mm.
it's a high stress situation, but nobody really thinks about how it's already a stressful work area, a
Yeah.
work environment. So
Yeah.
to add on the other layer of it being a poor work environment, that people are calling out left and right every day. every day. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. I don't ask any questions, girl. I'm like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter to me. I get it. You need a day? Take it.
Yeah.
So we are nearing the end of this episode.
Mhm.
And what is some advice that you will give new nurses coming into the nursing arena?
Yeah. Yeah. Start in the hospital or a doctor's office, like I already said, like somewhere where you're touching people, right? That will give you so much more perspective. Just of how nursing is, and it also, like, that's how the schools train you, is for the hospital.
Mhm.
So I say, start there. Be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself, find a nurse friend. Like, find a nurse friend. You can't do your career on your own. So try to find somebody on your floor that you can buddy up with, that really has your back.
Yes.
Because the nurses eat their young is a real thing. I've experienced that. That was also part of the reason why I left bedside. It can be a lot, but really be patient with yourself. Ask for help, ask questions.
Yes. Regardless of whether you feel like they want to talk to you or not, you still have to be like, okay, I'm going to put some courage into this. I know I need to know. So let me go ask. Even if there's somebody that eat their young, even if it's somebody who's not the best representative of what a good person is, if they know the information, unfortunately, you don't know enough to not ask,
Right.
because that will lead to court cases.
Right. Right.
That will lead to court cases because you didn't ask and so you didn't do it,
Right.
or you did it wrong.
Yeah.
I think that is very important. So, what do you have coming up?
The final yoga class with
Mhm.
Strong Beautiful Future is on Saturday. I'm gonna be launching a 30-day yoga challenge on Yoga with Lesline. So, if you're interested in doing a yoga challenge, it'll be launching July 1st. It's free. I encourage you to go over there, subscribe, share with mom friends, all of that. And that's it for now.
Okay, and where can our listeners find you?
My website, because I own that. So leslinepittman.com is where you
Okay.
can go first. And then I'm across every social media platform at Lesline Pittman.
All righty. So I would like to say thank you, thank you, thank you for coming on to the podcast. I really enjoyed speaking with you. I'm glad that I saw you and I was like, hey, I've seen her before.
Yeah.
So let me reach out and see if she would do the podcast. I think so many people will benefit from listening to your perspective, listening to your story, and understanding that they do not have to be boxed into just being a nurse.
Yes.
I think it's very important that you're doing the work in the mommy community and allowing us to have a space where we feel good about our pregnancies,
Yeah.
or that we feel valued and we're able to learn how to value ourselves. I do think that this is a very, very beautiful situation that you have going on. And so thank you for your service to our
Mm,
community.
thank you.
And to our listeners, if you have made it to the end,
Yeah.
hello, hello. Go and follow Miss Lesline. You will not regret it. I promise. She has very good content, and she allows you to know that content creation is a job.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is a thing.
Yeah.
It's a job, baby.
Mhm,
I'm telling
mhm,
you, like the
mhm.
work that goes into it, the effort that goes into it should be studied.
Yeah.
Should be
Yeah.
studied, because people often they don't look at content creation as a real job.
Mm.
But if you've made it here, I hope that your week has gone well. I hope that you're finishing the semester strong. And if you have any questions, make sure you go to the Evolve Nurse and you can comment at any time. You can DM me or you can email me at theevolvenurse@gmail.com. You can go to theevolvenurse.com and follow us, because you should join our community. We do monthly meetings. Next month we won't have a meeting, but each month we do meetings throughout the Jacksonville area with our healthcare professionals so that we can just bond, talk to each other, just lay it out on the line, and then be able to enjoy one another's company. We had one last month, we had one the month before that, and I think that it's a very beautiful community to engage with. So y'all make sure that you are following both of us, and y'all have a great day.